When you are using the trigonometric ratios to find the missing length in a right triangle, we will use the acronym SOHCAHTOA, which tells us that the sine is opposite over the hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. In this problem, we're asked to find side AB, so I'm going to highlight that. And what we are given is the angle is 39 degrees, and this side is 8. The first thing I pay attention to is 39 degrees. And I notice the relationship between the side I'm being asked for and 39 degrees. They're directly across from each other, and we refer to that as opposite. And then the side that is labeled as 8 is across from the right angle, and we call that the hypotenuse. So I have the O and the H. And if I'm looking at SOHCAHTOA and I have the O and H, that means I'm going to use the sine. Sine is often abbreviated as SIN, so I will write the sine of 39 degrees is equal to the opposite, which I don't know, so I'm going to call that X, over the hypotenuse, which is 8. And so I would solve this the way I solve any algebraic equation. What I'm looking to do is isolate this variable. So in order to do that, I have to do the opposite of what's being done. So I would rewrite this to say the sine of 39 degrees is equal to X over 8. And since they are dividing by 8, I'm going to multiply by 8 on both sides. 8 divided by 8 cancels out. And then the sine of 39 degrees, we would just use our calculator for this. And the calculator does all of the work here. You type in 39 degrees and press sine. So we would write this number down to begin. And when you write it down, you want to get at least 4 or 5 digits here. So 0.62932. And we're going to multiply that times 8. And what I'm left with here is 5.03, which is equal to X here. So this number would be 5.03 approximately. And typically what you're going to be asked to do is to round. So we would call this X would be equal to approximately 5.0. I'll give you another example with the sine. Here we have 24 degrees, and we're asked to find side YZ. YZ is here. It's my X, I don't know what it is. And directly across from the right angle is 10, so that makes it our hypotenuse. And again, this angle is across from this side, so we refer to these as opposites when we see that. So opposite over hypotenuse, which means I would again write the sine of 24 degrees is equal to X over 10. That's my opposite over my hypotenuse. And in order to solve this, you just write sine of 24 degrees is equal to X over 10. And because the unknown is in the numerator, that means they're dividing. That means I get to multiply to solve this. These cancel out. I have an X here. And again, I just use a calculator. You type in 24 degrees, press sine. It tells you what that number is. I'm going to write it out here as 0.40673. And again, we're multiplying that number times 10 to find out what X is equal to. So take the calculator and I multiply times 10 here. And that's going to give me 4.06 approximately. And again, if I round this, I'm going to get approximately 4.1. Typically, you're asked to round to the nearest tenth. So this would be my answer. And these were a few examples of what happens when you do not know the opposite. We're going to look at an example of sine. when you're looking for the hypotenuse. Here you're asked to find AC. That would be this length. That means your unknown is here. So what do we know? We have this 59 degrees here, and we have this length, which is BC, and that is across from the 59 degrees. So we refer to that as opposite. And then this is across from the right angle. We refer to that as the hypotenuse. So again, we have the O and the H. So we would use sine. Sine is abbreviated like that. So sine of 59 degrees is equal to 5 over x. And here, we would find out the sine of 59 degrees. And this time, while the x is in the denominator, we're going to actually divide. Write this out algebraically, you would have 5 over x right here. So you would multiply both sides by x. This would cancel out. And over here, you'd have x times the sine of 59 degrees is equal to 5. So x times the sine of 59 is equal to 5. And of course, that means I would divide by the sine of 59 degrees. This cancels out, and I'm left with just the x. And so what I would type into the calculator, showing you these steps algebraically, but for practical purposes, when you get to this point and you see 5 divided by x, what we're going to do is take 5 in the calculator and the sine of 59 degrees. So the first step that I would suggest you do is press in and then sine, find out what that number is. And we're only going to write down the first couple of digits here. We're going to write down the first 5. We got 0.85716. And we're taking that number and we're using 5 and dividing 5 by that number. So 5 divided by 0.85716. And that will give you approximately 5.8. So we would write x is equal to approximately 5.8.